Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to be diving into a truly fascinating question. Is love a profound, magical emotion, or is it actually just a biological trap set by our brains to make sure the human species survives? Today, we're breaking down the hard science behind attraction. We'll look at how dopamine dictates our deepest cravings and what actually happens in our brains when we form long-term attachments. Okay, let's dive into this. Why do so many couples feel like that intense spark just vanishes after a couple of years? I mean, it's a tale as old as time, right? You hear people say, "You've changed," or "You just don't love me like you used to." Someone who used to be your entire universe suddenly feels more like a roommate. So is the love actually gone, or is there something completely different happening right beneath the surface? To truly wrap our heads around this, we actually need to look back at a groundbreaking neuroscience experiment from the 1950s. Two scientists, James Olds and Peter Milner, were trying to figure out where happiness comes from. They planted a tiny electrode directly into a specific area of a rat's brain, an area they ended up calling the reward center. Then, they gave this rat a little button that delivered a mild electrical stimulation right to that spot. And get this! The results were absolutely shocking. The rat pressed that pleasure button 7,000 times in a single hour. 7,000! It completely ignored its food, its water, even sleep. It literally just kept hitting that button until its tiny body physically collapsed. This was a huge aha moment for science, proving the terrifying power of biological addiction. A simple electrical signal completely overwrote the animal's basic will to survive. Now you might be thinking, okay, that's a rat, but a few years later, psychiatrist Robert Heath mirrored this exact same setup on a human, known as patient B19. He was given a similar button to activate his brain's reward circuit. And honestly, just like the rat, he became heavily addicted to that feeling, completely tuning out the entire world around him. And when researchers finally took the button away, he became incredibly aggressive. It proved without a doubt that human brains can become fundamentally addicted to a feeling. Now, what's really interesting about this is how it forces us to completely reframe our understanding of brain chemistry. Most of us assume dopamine just equals happiness, right? Well, it doesn't. Dopamine actually drives intense craving, wanting, and obsession. It's basically your brain's alarm bell screaming, "I need this right now." That's exactly why in the early stages of love, you're constantly checking your phone, agonizing over every single text message. Your brain has literally declared that person as the ultimate reward. This intense early stage actually rewires your brain, and scientists have a name for it: limerence. During this totally involuntary obsessive phase, brain imaging shows that romantic love lights up the exact same areas of your brain as drug addiction. Because your brain is prioritizing this chemical reward over basic survival logic, you become completely irrational. Red flags? Totally invisible. Annoying habits? Oh, they're just cute. Your partner suddenly appears absolutely flawless. But nature brings us to a pretty painful evolutionary reality. If early love is really this intense and amazing, why does it eventually end? Well, the simple answer is that the human body just can't handle it. Your brain literally cannot maintain this exhausting, high-alert state of limerence forever. Eventually, that novelty has to wear off, just so your brain can stabilize and, function normally again. And this brings us to a crucial biological shift. We all inevitably transition out of that dopamine phase, that crazy period of fire, obsession, and high excitement. The brain shifts gears into the attachment phase, where entirely different chemicals take over the driver's seat. We're talking primarily about oxytocin and vasopressin. So that burning obsessive fire, it gets replaced by a deep sense of peace, comfort, and stability. But here is where we run into a major issue, a tragic misunderstanding that derails so many relationships today. When those chemical butterflies finally settle down into peaceful stability, a lot of people mistakenly think that the love is just gone. They feel that because that high-stakes thrill is missing, the relationship must have failed. But they're completely missing the point. The relationship hasn't died at all. It's actually just maturing. And making matters so much worse is just how our modern world operates. I mean, think about it. We are constantly overstimulated. We're doom scrolling Instagram reels, swiping on dating apps, fielding endless notifications all day long. Everything is designed to hijack our reward centers. So when the quiet, cozy peace of long-term attachment finally shows up, it feels boring to a brain that's become super addicted to instant gratification. Which naturally brings us to a really difficult question about human nature. If we are genuinely wired for this deep, long-term connection, why do people cheat? Why does betrayal happen, even in relationships where genuine, deep love actually exists? The answer to that lies in a massive internal conflict happening inside all of us. Emotionally speaking, the human heart seeks stability, a safe harbor, a lifelong companion. But our biology, it's on a totally different page. The brain is a total novelty seeker. It naturally craves the thrill of the new attention, fresh excitement. It's this constant, ongoing tug-of-war between the comfort of the familiar and the thrill of the unknown.
Because of this tug-of-war, we really need to clear up a massive misconception. Affairs rarely start just out of pure physical desire. More often than not, they start right in the mind. They're usually rooted in profound loneliness, emotional emptiness, or just feeling completely unheard by a partner. It's an escape from reality. It's someone desperately seeking that initial dopamine rush of being noticed and desired all over again.
Now, historically, having multiple partners was an evolutionary strategy tied to survival and spreading genes. But look, we don't live in caves anymore. Modern relationships demand something far more complex than just basic survival. They require deep emotional intimacy, your undivided attention, and an active, continuous presence in your partner's life. So, the absolutely crucial point to take away is this. True love actually transcends the chemical illusion. Real love isn't that involuntary, heart-pounding obsession you feel right at the start. Real love is what remains when that illusion finally drops. It's when the excitement fades, the dopamine clears out, and yet, two people consciously choose to stay together, offering care and respect even when things get ordinary or really hard. Let's look at how this actually plays out over time. When you map it out chronologically, it's fascinating. During the first 1 to 6 months, you're riding high on that intense limerence and dopamine rush. From years 1 to 2, the novelty naturally begins to fade as your brain starts to stabilize. And by year 3 and beyond, you enter the phase of oxytocin attachment. This is the exact moment where love shifts from being an uncontrollable chemical high into a grounded, conscious choice. This phase is what psychologists call the discipline of mature love. Because, let's be real, loyalty isn't some magical state where you suddenly go blind to everyone else in the world. You're human. Attraction is totally natural. True loyalty is a discipline. It's acknowledging your biological temptations, realizing that not every passing feeling is the absolute truth, and consciously choosing to protect your partner's trust every single day. Ultimately, nature's only job is to create attraction. Biology just gets two people in the same room long enough to ensure the survival of the species. But biology does not maintain marriages. It takes actual human effort, sacrifice, discipline, and facing our own deepest insecurities to build a relationship that truly lasts. I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder. The next time someone cynically tells you that love is just a biological illusion, ask yourself, when that chemical fog of dopamine finally clears and you see the real, beautifully flawed person standing right in front of you, will you be the one who possesses the humanity to stay and choose them anyway? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it brought you